Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be talking about a potential trade between the Maple Leafs and whatever team was willing to take on David Kampf, and there's probably going to be a sweetener. So Darren Dreger did go on TSN 1050 recently, yapping up that the Maple Leafs have really liked Nick Robertson's performance, which is true. I actually think he's been pretty good as well. You can drop your comments below. I have no problem with Nick Robertson proving me wrong. If you guys have followed this channel, I've been pretty skeptical of him, but he's been pretty good. His forechecking has improved. He skates a little bit better, still kind of has some difficulties, but it's going to be a really interesting season for Nick. Anyways, one of the biggest reasons that they're looking to move guys is because of Nick Robertson and Lorentz. Apparently, they probably want to sign Lorentz too, and Max Pacioretty, who is essentially quote-unquote on a PTO, but not really on a PTO, if you understand what I mean. Like, essentially every insider said that Max Pacioretty and the Maple Leafs had a wink-wink deal, if you understand what I mean. Even when you listen to Elliot Friedman's podcast, 32 Law Thoughts, which is an excellent podcast, you should listen to it. I'm sure you probably do anyway. He was talking about when Max Pacioretty was getting asked questions by the Toronto media, and one of the Toronto media members described that, well, Max, you're on a PTO, and he almost looked surprised. Like, this is why, because it was always a wink-wink deal with him. I was saying this from the start, like, and all the insiders were, where this guy's signed, so you're going to, it's essentially not, it's when the Leafs complete a trade before the season, not if. So I love trades. I don't know about you guys, so hopefully, I'm hoping it's a little bit bigger. I'm assuming it'll probably be kind of smaller, maybe something like a Sam Lafferty, which, by the way, did not work out that well for the Maple Leafs. We know how that worked out. Sam Lafferty was a pretty useful player for Vancouver last year, and the Leafs got like a 5th round pick, so and Minton didn't even actually stick around, so hopefully it turns out better. Now, he discussed that David Kampf would have to add in, quote, a sweetener to the deal, which makes sense. This is why cap management is very important, because you're going to have to give up a lot of assets to get rid of David Kampf. Like, what do you think is going to happen? So, well, maybe I misspoke there. Not a lot of assets, but you're going to have to give up some level of sweetener, more than you would prefer to give up when you could have just put Connor Dewar there, or Pontus Holmberg they had that at that time. Like, why don't you just sign that guy? Like, who cares? Or just keep him in the center slot. Pontus Holmberg would have been fine there. He's fine defensively. And let's be real here, guys. Fourth line centers don't really have much of an impact on the game unless they play on your penalty kill. And then, to be fair, fourth line centers can have more of an impact if they penalty kill a lot and things like that. And by the way, they got to make space for a lot of guys. They got to make space. I wouldn't mind seeing Lorentz. I don't know about you guys, but Lorentz has actually looked pretty good for the Maple Leafs, in my opinion. You got to make space for Max Pacioretty, and I really don't want them to get rid of Nick Robertson necessarily, unless they're getting something good back. Like, I think he's decent offensively, and he's improved his forechecking game, which is nice. He really always struggled forechecking. Like, he always lost battles on the wall and things like that, which were pretty annoying in my opinion. But he's been good. I don't know if you saw that Montreal goal the other day, but that was a hard-working, gritty goal, and good for him. Because if you guys know, the whole summer, it was like the saga of Nick Robertson saying, I want to be traded, I want to be traded, I want to be traded, and he made sure that that went public, which I thought was a little bit unprofessional. I don't really like that when players and teams do stuff like that. Keep it under wraps, keep it professional. There's no reason to go public with it. There's no reason to create drama. You know how some guys will be like, oh, I'm going to the KHL. It's like, no, you're not. You're not going to the KHL. Like, who the hell wants to go to the KHL if you can get an NHL deal? Like, get out of here. That's obviously not going to happen. So I wonder if it will be a bit of a bigger deal. Like, there was rumors they were also shopping Yarncroc and Kampf now. I wonder if it's a bigger deal. Now, I don't know why they would trade those two guys and not a Ryan Reeves, who you could make an argument that Yarncroc is a lot more useful than both of them. Yarncroc is actually a really good two-way forward. He can score a little bit. He has the ability to possibly score 20 goals. He did 1 year with the Leafs. But, you know, he certainly isn't a high-end offensive talent, but I have touched on him and made a video about him. So you guys should go on my channel. There's a last video I did and watch that as well. So we'll see. I would love it to be a little bit of a bigger deal. And then who could we trade? It'll probably just be like a draft pick we're getting back or something like that. Like, let's be real. Like, what is it going to be? Like a Lafferty? We give Kampf and a sweetener, and they give us what? A 5th round pick or something like we did last year. We were able to get rid of Sam Lafferty easily. That's because he has relative value. But you know what, the one thing that I was thinking to myself, you know, the whole excuse for re-signing David Kämpf last year, or not last year, I think it was last year or the year, but who cares, whatever. When they signed David Kämpf, the whole excuse for that was that, quote, a lot of other teams wanted to sign him. And I would say, okay, well, then just let them sign him. Who cares? Like, I don't understand why you gave him that money to begin with, but whatever. That's just one guy with a mic's opinion. If a lot of teams were willing to give him that amount of money, why would you even have to add a sweetener? Why don't you just go to those teams that were willing to give him that money and then trade him there? Or was that just a negotiating tactic and nobody was willing to give him that amount of money and the Leafs got suckered? Makes you think, doesn't it, guys? Makes you think real good. It's like, dude, if you have to add a sweetener to the deal, that means nobody wanted to take Kämpf for that amount of money. I mean, do you want a fourth line C on your team? If you're not a Leaf fan and you're watching this, would you want Kämpf as a fourth line C at that contract? Google it. David Kämpf contract. I'll put the information up on the screen for you guys. I'm not going to be too lazy. But, you know, it is what it is. Nobody wants that guy for that. And honestly, the crazy thing about Kämpf is he's not even that good defensively. That's the thing that annoys me. Like, I watch him out there. I don't know. You guys can give me your opinions, but he's not like stellar at any one thing. He's very physically fit. Like, he's obsessed with fitness, which is, you know, good for him. But he's just not really that good defensively, and I'm like, what do people see in this guy? Like, why did they obsess about re-signing this guy? I just don't get it. And the Reeves contract, and then you're like, okay. I mean, at least Yarncroc has some value. I can understand that one. A really good two-way forward that has the ability to score 15 to 20 goals. It's like, okay, all right, I can see what they're thinking there. That's decent, but like this one was always puzzling to me. So now it really sucks that we're gonna have to give up an asset because of a mistake. And listen, everybody knew it was a mistake when they signed him. I don't understand why they did. So, and then now look at the asset management. This is what happens. This is what happens, man. Anyways, I'm going to leave the video there. I'm not going to yap on for too long. If you could tell me why I'm wrong and tell me why I'm right if you agree with me. Have a great day, guys, and goodbye.